to take a step forward and improve your year? Have you taken any big steps moving forward in the last couple, I guess, few weeks? Have you made any goals? Have you made any outlines? Is there anything specific that you've done to get some momentum and get some action into your lifestyle? Now, that's a hard thing to do for a lot of people because we get frozen and we get stuck in our methods and we don't really know how to get out. With a little bit of guidance, so we can take a few good steps forward and make a big change in how things are progressing in our lifestyle. So, where are you standing? Have those goals fallen beside the wayside? Do they have that momentum to move forward, or are they just sort of stuck? It's okay because there's no real right or wrong answer on what you're going to be doing in your lifestyle. You really just need to ask yourself, are you proud of what you've done? Are you a little excited about where things could be, but then they kind of fall off on the end? It's up to you. No right or wrong answer, but let's get down into some of the heart of some of the problems of why things don't always work out for you. Now, if you haven't seen any of my videos, my name is Ja-On Hillman. I'm a healthcare entrepreneur. I'm a massage therapist. I'm an osteopathic manual practitioner. So I do a lot of things with people one-on-one. I talk to them and I really get down to some of the things that are freezing them in their activities. Because one of the big things people say is, I'd really like to make a change in my lifestyle. I'd like to make a change in how things are progressing, but I don't really know how to do it. Or I just kind of get stuck, or I get frozen, or I'm really worried about where I'm going to be. But it really comes down to a whole lot of fear. Now, I'm not a counselor by any means, but I do tend to give a little bit of advice, a little bit of guidance to some people who need it, because we all need a little help once in a while. And sometimes it's best just seeing on YouTube, where you can see the relatability to a person. You can see, that this is real. This is how it is. This is not exactly my profession, but I do have a few things that I've done and learned over the years that can be implemented and given to people on a regular basis. So, that being said, let's move ahead and move on to a few things that can help you improve your lifestyle. And I'm going to touch base on 3 separate things. Now, if you haven't followed my videos before, definitely subscribe. Love to have you jumping onto these videos and share some of the knowledge and the skill set that I've picked up over the last few years. Well, I guess the last few years is really more along the lines of 18 years. So there is a little bit of a skill set that I've developed from talking to people and listening to them and such. Sometimes we just tend to quit and we don't always have a good reason, and that's just kind of how it is. We get caught up in our lifestyle. We get caught up with what people think, and that's the big one. We get caught up in the finances. We get caught up in other responsibilities that come up, whether maybe there's a death in the family, there's a loss, there's some financial matters where the things are just crunching in too hard and you just feel compressed and you feel stuck up, and we just need to be elevated or moved out of that position to further along our lifestyle. Okay, so let's just be honest. Are you happy with where things are right now? Because if you're not happy, you need to take some action. If you are happy, go for it. That's great. I'm not going to judge anybody on anything that they're doing or they're not doing unless they're not happy with it. So you, again, like I said, just really focus down. Are you happy with where things are in your lifestyle? Or do you want to change? It doesn't have to be a big change. Sometimes it's just a small little change that can be implemented. So now, what are some of the things you can be doing right now to take some action and take charge and take control of your lifestyle? The first one is you got to define what your goal is. What do you want in life? And that's a question that not a lot of people really ever ask. Now, when I do talk to other entrepreneurs, when I talk to people who are in my practice, who are looking for help, it's very easy to say what you want and what your goal is. I want to feel better. I want more money, or I want more time. And that's great. Okay, those are fantastic questions to be asking, and they need to be asked on a regular basis. But it's not always so much just asking what do you want, it's what don't you want. Okay, so we all talk about I want to be healthier, I want to have more money, but we don't really dig down into the negative side of things. I don't want pain. I don't want to be living in scarcity. I don't want to be living paycheck to paycheck, or I don't want to be living on my credit cards. I don't want this back pain or headache. Sometimes we forget that because we only focus on the good things. How can we improve our lifestyle, as opposed to what are the things that are really getting in the way of having the ideal life that we want on a daily basis? So ask yourself that and really get down into the nitty gritty of it, not just the happy stuff. What are the big things that you need taken out of your lifestyle to have the ideal lifestyle that you want right now? Okay. The second thing is we really need to stop over analyzing what people are thinking about us, because it's pretty common that we don't take the action because we're worried about what other people are going to be thinking. And I hear that from both sides, whether it's the healthcare perspective where people are afraid to do an exercise or they're afraid to do a stretch because, well, what are people going to think? They're going to think it looks stupid. They're going to think I'm looking like an idiot. They're going to question, judge me about why am I spending the money on improving my health? Why am I doing these things? And I also see that with a lot of people that I'm talking to on a regular basis when it comes to clients, when it comes to building a practice, when it comes to building a business or building an online profile. It's, well, I'm really scared of what people are going to think. What if people think I look stupid? What if people judge me on that? What if my cousin or my aunt sees it and they go, "Why are you doing these sort of things?" Now, there's two answers to that sort of thing. Now, strangers, who cares what strangers think? Because they're strangers. They have no power over your lifestyle whatsoever. And the people behind the keyboards, people that are in the distance looking at you, it's easy for them to shout off the negative aspect of things. You look stupid or you look foolish or whatever it is. That's easy for them to say from a distance or behind the keyboard because you can be really brave when they're not in a person's face. You get right up into them and all of a sudden things start calming down. They're going to be really quiet about what they're saying to you when you're right there in front of them. Now, the other perspective is friends and family. Now, that's a whole other psychology of things, okay? Because when you have friends or family judging you on what your personal choices are, where you want to go in life, the activities that you're doing, they're absolutely going to judge you. And, that's okay. Don't pay that too much noise. And one of the biggest reasons why they do that is because in their mindset, they have the idealistic vision of what they want you to become. So bear in mind that a lot of that judgment does come from a place of love and caring and worry because they don't want you to fail. They don't want to see you fail. Just think about when you have kids. Kids tend to fail, right? And you want to pick them up. You want to pick them up. You want to comfort them. You want to tell them it's okay. It's not your fault. You want to do all those things. So that's what you typically a lot of family know. They know that you're going to fail. You're going to hurt yourself, and they're going to give them some compassion and caring, and that's a good thing. So they don't want to see you fail. And when you have to take those steps forward into changing your lifestyle, there's a high likelihood that you're going to fail. And they don't want to see that. They want to see you succeed. They want you to be happy. They don't want to see you being pulled down or dragged out or any of those things that could be getting in the way of your lifestyle. So when you do have friends and family questioning what you're doing, whether it's for your personal health or whether it's your investments or business properties, bear in mind that all that criticism is coming from a position of love because they don't want you to fail and they don't want to see you in pain. They don't want to see you suffer. They're also very good at lifting you up when you need it the most if you tune them into what is going on. So keep that in mind. And really, sometimes when it does come to some people, you have to realize that, it doesn't really matter what your second Aunt Trudy happens to think about what your choices are because you're the only one that lives in your life. You're the only one that has the lifestyle and they don't live here. So they don't get a say in things. Push them off to the side. So finally, what are some of the other things that you can be doing? You got to focus on creating some strong habits. Now, the number one thing you got to do for creating action, and this is my bad area. So let me explain why I'm so bad, because I'm terrible at creating habits. Everything kind of comes into, focusing on this point, and I come to a glancing point and skim off because, oh, hey, look, there's something shiny over there. Or, hey, this is a better way to do things. Or, hey, maybe I should be going over here. But this is where all the attention is here. Instead of staying the course and creating a strong habit on a regular basis. And that habit built up over time builds up the momentum. That momentum eventually leads to more and more action, and you get to the point that you can't even stop it if you wanted to because there's going to be so much activity. It's just going to keep coming and coming. So it's a fantastic thing, but it just takes that work. And at the very beginning, nobody really likes that work because the work is hard, the work is tiring, and sometimes the work is just freaking boring. Nobody likes doing it. So it's hard to stay the focus unless you set strong goals and strong habits. So if you're doing something new, don't say, I'm going to try it out and see how it is. You got to set that deadline and that goal, and you got to be really hard set about it. If you're going to set it for 12 weeks, if you're going to set it for a year, if you're going to set it for 5 years, you have to set it, and go for it and do it regardless of what's going on. A good example here is when I started my business. That was terrifying. And everyone said, don't do it. Don't do it at all. So the first step that I did was sign a 5-year lease, and people thought I was crazy. Why are you doing this? It might not work. You should be testing the waters and seeing if this is what you really want to do. But my perspective in that was I'm going to stay out for 5 years because I don't want it out. I want it hard. I want it difficult. And I want to know there's no escape, that I can't get out of it, that I'm in this for the long run. And regardless of where my attention is being dragged, I'm going to be sitting into this and I'm going to have to go on a regular basis for those 5 years, success or failure. So I'm struggling with this on a continual basis. We all do with the action steps because it's hard. We deal with all these things. We deal with, the inability to get movement. We deal with people on a continual basis saying, don't do these things. But you really want to make sure you pay attention to what's going on inside that voice and whether what's going on inside, logically and emotionally and all these things, they're brewing together. And we also need to look at that dedicated timeline. So don't give up. Move forward, and most importantly, find a community of people that are going to be supporting you in your venture and a mentor. Somebody can help you up along the line. Somebody can give you that guidance, who gives you what you need on a regular basis and give you some of the direction to fine tune the course. Because it's one hand to be going in that direction, but you can be veered off, and sometimes you just need that little bit of a nudge. Okay, so keep going and don't ever stop the course. Just make those small fine-tuning things there. So if you really want to see how a crazy tangent personality like myself is dealing and working with keeping on track and creating those strong actionable goals and strong habits, definitely subscribe to this channel, because I'm going to be putting up some things that I learn on a regular basis that can be used to help you. And as I start learning and growing, I'm going to start throwing some of the stuff in here. So you're going to see some of the tools that I'm using on a regular basis, things that help track my crazy mindset that kind of goes from one place to another as I try to really tune it in. So definitely jump in, subscribe. I would love to connect with you guys and learn more about creating a more productive lifestyle and creating strong habits and creating financial freedom over the course of the next year and the entire course of my lifetime. So follow me on social media. My links are also going to be in the description below. There's also going to be a couple downloads that you can find there. One is going to be for improving your energy levels, and the other one is actually the 5-step process that I use for maximizing and creating multiple income streams. This is the actual plan that I use myself right now to create a better income stream, and it is proven to be beneficial and work for almost anybody who follows the course and implements it on a daily basis. But regardless of what your goal is in life, guys, don't quit. Don't ever stop. Your dreams don't come true without action. Thanks for following, and I'll see you in the next video.